Good afternoon. This is the regularly scheduled meeting for the Caldwell Hearing Examiner for January 28th, 2025, and it is 1:32 p.m. This is a public hearing, and my name is Sabrina Durchie. I will be your hearing examiner for today. And I can hear quasi-judicial decisions concerning particular land use applications for the City of Caldwell. During the public hearing process, public oral testimony will be taken from those in attendance and those who have signed up to speak. This sign-up sheet is at the front entrance of the room. When you testify, speak directly into the microphone. Please begin with stating your full name and address, and all comments should be addressed to myself and should be relevant to the application. Once the public hearing is open, staff will present the staff report, and then the applicant or the applicant's representative will be given 10 minutes to speak. After the applicant, we will allow for the public to have 3 minutes to testify, and then finally the applicant or the applicant's representative will be permitted for a 5-minute rebuttal. After the rebuttal is given, the public hearing will be closed and no new oral or written testimony will be allowed unless I decide to reopen the public hearing. And with that, I don't think we'll have an issue, but everyone needs to treat all parties with fairness and respect today. And please silence your cell phones, since we are required by Idaho State Code to take written minutes during our public hearings. All right, thank you. We will start with our agenda. As far as the consent calendar, I've already approved the previous hearing examiner minutes for December 3rd, 2024. And we did have an old business item, but before I move to the old business item, our new business item, this is case number PUD 24-6, SPP 24-3, and DEC 24-4 is going to be tabled. Do we have a date certain, or it's going to be tabled?
Madam Hearing Examiner, yes, it will be February 11th. Let me confirm that really fast.
Okay.
Yes, February 11th.
And that'll give enough time to do the public notices and received input from the public? Okay. We will table this new business item until February 11th. Now, let's jump back to our old business item. This is case number SUP 24-24. The applicant, Casey Howell, on behalf of Eckert Holdings LLP, is requesting a special use permit for flex space for a variety of light industrial uses directly permitted in the M1 zone. Subject site is located at 5615 Aviation Way. And with that, Katie, would you like to present your staff report?
Yes, thank you, Madam Hearing
Thanks.
Examiner. I do want to actually say one last thing about PUD 24, Mirandessa, the last item that you mentioned.
Yes.
I just want to pull up, and confirm the date, and make sure that it's February 11th. Okay, yes, it is. Sorry. I just
It's
started,
okay. It's okay.
you know.
Double check.
Yes,
Absolutely.
exactly. Okay, so back to SUP 2424 Iron Eagle Business Park. Thank you, Madam Hearing Examiner. Katie Wright, Associate Planner, 205 South 6th Avenue. Before you today is Iron Eagle Business Park, again, SUP 2424. The project location is 1.31 acre parcel located north of Ustick on the east side of Aviation Way. The site has frontage along Aviation Way, but it's actually surrounded by City of Caldwell right-of-way, so it doesn't have direct frontage.
Okay.
That will come up a little bit later when we talk about landscaping. The project site is currently surrounded by the airport on the north, east, and south, with the interstate to the southwest, and high-density residential on the south side of the interstate. The applicant before you tonight is for, today, this afternoon, is for a special use permit for the whole parcel to allow for flex space and other directly permitted uses within the M1. The subject site was rezoned in 2018, ZON 1808, from Airport District to Light Industrial Zone for Global Tractor With this rezone, there was a condition that stated that truck and tractor repair and service was the only outright permitted use for this parcel, and the other permitted uses within the M1 zone would require an SUP, which is why the applicant is proposing this today. The request consists of the applicant's proposal for a special use permit within the current M1 zone to allow for permitted uses, as the previous entitlements again required that SUP to be done to allow for any permitted uses within the M1 other than that truck and tractor repair and service use. The purpose of M1 Light Industrial Zone is to provide areas by zoning procedures in accordance with the comprehensive plan, which encourage that grouping together of light industrial uses capable of being operated under such standards as to location, appearance of buildings, and the treatment of land about them so that they will be unobtrusive and not detrimental to surrounding commercial or residential uses. The proposed development is surrounded by Airport District to the north and east, light industrial to the south and west, an industrial park to the northwest, and high-density residential, again across the interstate to the west. Staff finds the light industrial zone to be compatible zoning district next to the airport and the interstate. The comp plan designation and development is institutional. The proposed development is in compliance with the comprehensive plan. The applicant is proposing a multi-tenant building with permitted M1 uses such as flex space. The proposed development project has been analyzed for compliance with city codes and policies, and staff finds the proposed development is in compliance with all parking, all bulk standards for lot size, setbacks, frontage, and height of building, and all other zoning and subdivision ordinances. And then the applicant is requesting alternative compliance for this site due to it being pretty constrained with the shape. And again, that right-of-way all along the frontage that's City of Caldwell. They're requesting that the entirety of their 15-foot street landscape buffer that would be required if they directly abutted up against Aviation Way would be all within that right-of-way. The proposed development will have adequate site access and all utilities are available or will be available as outlined in the engineering staff report. Public agencies were notified and asked to provide comments, and none of them showed any concerns. The Director of Aviation did send in a letter of support for this development and supports allowing all permitted M1 uses here in this area next to the airport district. And we received no public comments. Site-specific conditions are as follows. At time of certificate of occupancy inspection, bike racks shall be installed to meet Caldwell City Code. And then only those uses directly permitted in the M1 shall be permitted without a modification to the special use permit. So if anyone wanted to do anything that required a special use permit, they would have to come back through for that special use permit. This is only to allow directly permitted uses within the M1.
Okay.
Staff recommends that if the hearing examiner approves the request, that such request is subject to the conditions as specified in the findings of facts, conclusions of law, and order of decision, and I stand for any questions.
Great, thank you, Katie. I think one of the first questions I had was, since there's a DA that was approved in 2018, and we're asking for an alternative compliance, does the DA need to be modified?
Thank you, Madam Hearing Examiner. So, kind of an interesting deal. The DA was never signed and recorded.
Oh, okay.
So, no.
Okay. Do we need to get one signed and recorded, or
No, so we, staff kind of came to the conclusion that originally we did direct Iron Eagle to come through as a DA mod rather than an SUP. Again, after looking into it a little bit, we realized that it was never signed or recorded, so we went the route of doing the SUP
Okay.
As the entitlements stated originally with the rezone.
Great. Haley, I have a question. Nice to see you. Welcome back. In the right-of-way,
Great question. As far as having landscape in the right-of-way, I believe that this has been done before in other areas. I'm trying to think of a specific one. I think it was over along, sorry, I'm thinking of a location where it was ITD's right-of-way, where they used some of the landscaping. within their right-of-way as part of their landscape buffer. I can't think of any off the top of my head that was Caldwell's right-of-way, but
Okay.
it has been done before. You would typically the owner of the property is already required to maintain the landscaping as part of their frontage. And so because they are responsible for their frontage improvements, I don't see necessary that we would need to have any type of license agreement for them to continue to maintain the landscaping that they would put in.
I guess this is a question for Katie. Should we have an additional condition letting them know that even though the landscape's outside of it's in the right of way, that they will have to maintain the landscaping?
Madam Hearing Examiner, if you feel like that's most appropriate, we definitely can add that condition. It
Okay.
is technically in the code that
Okay.
requires it, but if we want it to be.
Okay, so I mean, if
More
it could be
stern.
enforced by code enforcement if it was, okay, all right.
Correct.
Those are just a few questions I had. Okay. Would the applicant or the applicant's representative like to come up? Please give me your name and address, and I think maybe, if you don't mind filling out your. Oh, there it is. Okay, perfect. Awesome, thank you. Connor, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Hearing Examiner. Connor Lindstrom with KM Engineering, 5725 North Discovery Way, Boise, Idaho, 83713. I'm here with KM Engineering representing Casey, who's with United Metals and the property owner. And yeah, here to speak on the special use permit. So really appreciate Katie and all the work she's done. I feel like her presentation was great, and she went through a lot of the details I was going to go through, and given that you can't see a presentation or whatnot, I'll try to be quick.
Yeah,
So
no, you're fine.
just wanted to kind of clarify a couple of things. So as far as the previous approvals that took place, yes, there was a development agreement that was not recorded. And so therefore, yeah, in speaking with Katie and staff, we decided on the special use permit as opposed to modifying a DA that doesn't exist.
Right.
So that's why we're here today. With that, we have our alternative compliance request too. So I'll touch on that in a sec. But as far as the actual use goes and kind of what we're looking to get at here is be as flexible as possible with the property. So we have the actual building, the flex space building that'll be constructed. And then as future users come forth and want to, lease out a portion of the building for their use, they'll have to get their, permits as needed. If whether or not that's a principally permitted use or a conditional use permit, they'll have to go through the city's process. And so kind of the thought behind that was, allowing just the M1 zoning to dictate the uses. We feel that that's provides the most flexibility, and it also gives the airport an idea as to what the uses could be. Obviously, a use that's not allowed in the M1 district, it can't go in there unless they were to totally rezone the property. So in discussions that Casey had with the airport, they felt comfortable with allowing this M1 zoning designation to dictate the uses that'll be in that building. So that's kind of what we're getting at here. As far as this landscaping goes, like Katie mentioned, the site is very skinny, and it actually does not front Aviation Way directly. There's the city of Caldwell's property that surrounds it, and so with that, we wanted to utilize as much of the site as possible. And given that we have to have parking for the building, there wasn't going to be a ton of room there for landscaping. So, in working with the city, they were amenable to allowing that landscaping within their property there within the right of way, and the property owner will definitely have to maintain that landscaping, and that is a code requirement, as Katie mentioned, that we have to continually maintain that. And if it was no longer being maintained, there was a complaint to the code enforcement, we'd have to obviously get things back in order. So I think that should cover it. Lastly, I just wanted to touch on the site again. As far as access goes, there's an existing access there that'll be on more to the west, that'll remain, and then there's also going to be access off the east side of Aviation Way, the southeastern corner of the property. That'll allow for through access, and the city is amenable to that as well. So overall, I don't have much else to add. We're in agreement with the staff report and the findings of fact, and
Gonna be, okay,
yes, that is correct. So it's actually Western Fence Supply that's there now. So that use, yeah, it's totally going to be demolished, anything that's there, and there will be a new building that'll be constructed.
Okay.
That is correct.
and so in this new building, the flex space is gonna be all under one ownership, correct? They're not gonna be condoed and split out into,
So
okay,
in my conversations with Casey and his team, they were going back and forth on different options. As of now, we're submitting this conditional use permit, or I'm sorry, the special use permit for the building to be constructed. And then there is a potential to come back with a condo plat. That could be an option where each individual unit would be sold off. But until that happens, we just like it to be flexible with just the one building. Spaces could be leased, but
Okay.
if we would like to condo plat it and sell off building spaces, that'd have to be a separate application.
sure, okay. I think I have a few more questions for Katie as I was, as you were talking. So, Katie, for the alternative compliance, that's wrapped up into the SUP. So it's not two separate applications, it's just part of the special use permit.
Madam Hearing Examiner, that's correct.
Okay, great. And then I did notice that we had some fencing requirements, but it says that fencing's not required. Is that,
Madam Hearing Examiner, correct, our code does not actually require any fencing as
Okay.
of right now unless they were doing like some type of outdoor storage or contractor yard or something.
okay,
In this case, I mean, from the right of way, you'd be seeing the parking lot, so you wouldn't be seeing any outdoor storage necessarily at this time, so we wouldn't require any fencing. They have an
Okay.
existing chain link, but that will be removed
that'll be removed.
based on my understanding.
Okay. Connor, I don't think I have any other questions. Is there anything else you want to tell me about the site, or?
No, I appreciate it. That is correct. The fence would be removed. And then as far as any, uses that are taking place, yeah, any outdoor storage would trigger that fencing, but given that we're gonna have the building there and just parking, the fencing would not be required. And there will be the landscaping buffer too.
Right.
From aviation, I guess, from the freeway too, so hopefully
Yeah.
that'll help. We also held a neighborhood meeting. Property owners within the required radius were notified. Nobody showed up to the meeting, and nobody's here today, so.
And you directed with the director over at the airport, and they read his letter, so.
Correct,
great.
yep, and that has been submitted to the city.
Yes, okay,
Yep.
great. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Do you have anything you want to share? Okay. Let me just make sure all my questions have been answered. So there is a fencing, condition, but it says comply, so they don't have to comply, so we're still okay. I just don't want them to get later on down the road and that won't be a hiccup for them.
Madam Hearing Examiner, no, what condition is it exactly that you're
Let me see.
referring to?
It was condition 6 under general requirements.
So all of the general requirements just
Okay.
essentially go along with code and point to
Okay,
complying
all
with
right.
code. So as long as they comply with what code requires, then they should be fine.
Okay, perfect, just double checking, okay. I think with that information, I will close the public hearing, and based on staff's findings, public testimony, and facts presented, I will approve SUP 24-24. Okay. You're looking at me like, do you have something to say?
Did you want to add? the
No,
other
I think we're
condition?
okay, but after Haley said that, yes, I'm fine with that, so we don't need to add that condition. All right. It is 1:51, and I will close the public hearing for today. Thank you, everyone.